Hi everyone, this is Sarah Aces here. This is the long-awaited AMA, or Ask Me Anything. I've been holding off on this for quite a while, and I've now gotten a lot of different questions, and I really wanted to kind of compile all of it together into one big video. If this is somehow your first time ever seeing me or hearing about me, hi, welcome on in. I'm Sarah Aces. For everyone else, hey guys, how's it going? Been a little bit. I know I've been a little bit sick. I'm feeling a little bit better now, but my throat and breathing and all of that is still a little bit meh. So I'm gonna be taking this time to record this video, rest a little bit more, and then definitely just spend a little bit more time healing and getting a little bit better. I don't know exactly what's been wrong with me, but hopefully this will be a good rest. Also, by the way, V, thank you so much for editing this while I've been sick. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get on to the first question. Starting with, Stan writes in saying, Sarah of the Q-Floof, what is your wisdom? My wisdom today is to not record things while you're sick, and to take care of yourself and rest. I know I'm not the best at doing my own advice, but there you go. Harry writes, what is your favorite Silent Hill, and why is it Silent Hill 3? This is kind of like a debate that's been going on with the Silent Hill fandom for a while. Which of the Silent Hills is the best? Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 3. For the niche people out there, Silent Hill 4. I am actually one of the niche people. I really like Silent Hill 4. There's just something about the music in that game that really hits and is just I don't know. Something about it is just beautiful, and the story that it's telling and the environment that it's going for. And I remember one of the scariest moments in any video game that I've ever played was from Silent Hill 4, when you walk into a room and you hear this heavy breathing, and you can feel something is just off in the distance, like just away from the camera. And then when you walk forward, the camera pans over and there's just giant head, and it's just breathing heavily with the eyes freaking out. And I don't know why, but that just freaked me out when I was younger. And it's always stuck with me. And if I ever do anything with any kind of like creativity in horror, I basically want to recreate that moment and scar somebody the same way that scarred me. You're welcome. Tech writes in, favorite video game console growing up? Holy shit, that is such a loaded question. There's so many different answers for that. My first ever video game console was the Sega Genesis, and that will always hold a soft spot in my heart. But my first ever Nintendo console was the Nintendo 64, weirdly enough. I never had a Super Nintendo or an NES in my house, and I never really got to experience like those things. So a lot of my feelings toward video games like kind of stem from the view of a girl who grew up playing on Sega Genesis. It was just a great console. Looking back, there's still some games that hold up. Probably not as much as the Super Nintendo games might hold up, but there's still some, still some good ones in there, you know what I mean? Outside of that, probably like the Sega Dreamcast holds the most memories for me. The first time I ever played Sonic Adventure, the first original one on the Sega Dreamcast, it just blew me away to see 3D from like that way, to see voice acting. Looking back, not great voice acting, but at the time, having more than just what we had on the N64, having full voices, full stories, that definitely stuck with me for a very long time. I think Shenmue is looked back on very fondly, even though it's not the best game ever. Shenmue 1 and 2, but I still hold a soft spot for them in my heart, and I always will. But shocking to nobody, probably the PlayStation 2 would take the crown. If you know anything about me, you know my favorite thing ever is Final Fantasy XI. and I played Final Fantasy XI on the PlayStation 2. And I still have my same account from there. So, yeah. Probably PlayStation 2. There's also just other games on there in general outside of Final Fantasy XI, Final Fantasy X, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, oddly enough, was something that I just look back on fondly. The Tony Hawk series of games, especially Tony Hawk's Underground 1 and 2, just the ability to play games online on the PlayStation 2 was something that I really look back on very fondly. The Sims console games are also ones that I look back on very fondly. Weirdly enough, The Sims Bustin' Out had an online mode where you could play co-op with friends, and my best friend from like elementary school onward and I would constantly play games like that together. Just hanging out, getting on a phone call, like literally, this was before Discord, this was before Xbox Live, all of that. We would literally call each other on the phone and plan out to play online games together and connect together and then just talk through there. And we did that a lot. It was beautiful. Babel asks, what is the best milk? 2%, easily. Duh. This one was from a lot of different people, but various people asked me, what made you decide to get into streaming or VTubing? Any tips for people interested in getting into that line of work or variety of streaming or things like that? So, one of my exes actually asked if I wanted to be a streamer at some point. They noticed that I had a lot of charisma and a lot of, acting chops, I guess, just naturally there. I've done no actual acting lessons or anything like that before anybody asks. Some people might say that's obvious. Other people might be shocked by that. But I've never really done anything like that line of work. So when they asked if I wanted to be a streamer, my initial thought was, fuck no, I don't want that at all. And I guess at some point I decided that I wanted to give it a try for myself. I don't even fully remember. I just remember talking to a close friend of mine about the idea of streaming. And she asked if I wanted to be a VTuber. And I was like, well, what the hell is a VTuber? Because I've never even heard of that at that point. And then she explained the entire concept of VTubing to me, and then she asked if I wanted to go down that line. And I said, sure. And then she asked if I wanted to have a model because she was looking to get into making VTuber models. And then that's where I actually got the first ever VTuber model that I had, that I still look back on very fondly, because that's how I got started into VTubing. This is my newer model. I still love this one very, very much, but I will always look back on the initial steps as, well, baby steps. We always got to look back on where we started and all that jazz. Groby asks, boobs or butts? Thighs. Gundir asks, what is your streaming setup? Like desktop, camera for VTube Studio, and, things like that. And also asks, how do you prepare for stream start and what is done post-stream? I'm actually going to send a picture to Okfi for this one so she can actually show what my entire setup looks like. By the way, thank you, Okfi, for editing all of these videos for me. You are the best. You can see how I have the whole, computer set up like that. I'm actually going to be adding a new monitor and it'll look, nicer, and I'll be able to do more things while I'm streaming. More monitors equals more looking. As for what I do before I start every stream, I make sure to drink a little bit of tea. That way my voice can be a lot more soothing and a lot more, natural sounding. And if I'm able to, I'll eat a little bit of breakfast. Sometimes I'll just hold off on breakfast and eat some food after stream, which is something that's usually done post-stream. I also try to make sure to do a little bit of vocal trills, just to make sure that my vocal range is a little bit higher and lower. That way, when I have to do various voices while I'm streaming, I can do those a little bit easier. As for after streaming, we make sure to get some good food, my roommate and I, and make sure to always take care of ourselves, things like that. Sometimes after a stream, after a particularly long stream especially, I might need some time to just kind of de-stress and relax and just take some time to myself. Maybe even just listen to some music or network with some people. Sometimes when I'm done streaming and I raid into somebody else, I completely lose track of time because I'm just having so much fun in their chat. And I feel it's really good to kind of connect with other streamers as well. I'll get into that a little bit more later on, but yeah, I feel like it's a really good thing to network and connect with other people. Alkvi, hi Alkvi. Thank you so much for editing all these, by the way, again. Alkvi asks, are there any plans to go back to Kingdom Hearts 1? Bill still has a sandwich waiting for you. So, Alkvi is referencing during my Kingdom Hearts 1 playthrough for the first and only stream that I've done on Kingdom Hearts 1, where we were joking about Bill being voiced by Danny DeVito, and just, if you know that Danny DeVito does, or at least for a while did, Jersey Mike's commercials, it would make more sense. But basically we just had Phil from Hercules always asking me about if I want Jersey Mike's, and that was just a long time joke that entire stream. As for if I'm ever going to get back to Kingdom Hearts 1, probably not for streaming. The problem there is, on Twitch especially, they really don't like me playing Kingdom Hearts 1 only because of the music. When I streamed Kingdom Hearts 1, I had a great time during the actual stream, and then immediately after the stream ended, I got an email from Twitch saying, hey, so we're gonna have to mute portions of your stream as we don't want you to get hit with like a copyright strike because there's some copywritten music in this stream. Which really threw me off because the only thing I did was stream Kingdom Hearts 1. I didn't add any music, I wasn't playing anything on Spotify, all the music came directly from the game. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, they probably just muted the beginning, like the first song that you hear in the game, that one's a really popular one and always gets stricken down. They did. And then they muted the other half of stream. I'm not kidding when I say more than 50% of that entire stream was completely muted because it quote-unquote violated their copyright or whatever it couldn't play the music. Which was just ridiculous because it's just the music in the game. Like, it felt so weird to have that problem, and I've never had that problem before or since. Not once on any of my VODs have they ever had any moments like that. And it was just shocking and scary. So from that point on, I plan to never stream Kingdom Hearts again, because for me, a big part of Kingdom Hearts is the music, and it's a beautiful soundtrack, but if I can't even stream it without there being problems, I would rather just record like a pre-recorded video talking about my thoughts on it. But the problem there is that I don't really do that content, and maybe in the future I'll start doing things like that. Maybe I'll start doing retrospectives or whatever the hell the term is. But right now I don't really have any plans to do anything like that. So I can just summarize my thoughts on the Kingdom Hearts series. I really like it. Like, I grew up with the Kingdom Hearts series, and yeah, it's a little bit goofy. Get it? Please get it. Please laugh. But yeah, like that's just my thoughts. I don't know. I like this series. I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully talk about it in a video outside of here, where I can say this one again coming from a whole bunch of different people asking, what tips can you give to new streamers who are just starting or interested in getting into streaming, VTubing or otherwise? So that's a really good way to word it as well. I never want to be known specifically for being a VTuber. I just consider myself just a person online or a quote-unquote content creator. By the way, kind of odd that a lot of people give the term content creator a bad rap. Like, it's just what people do. It's just a job description. Please get over it. But all that outside the way, I'd probably give the best tip is to kind of just go for it. Honestly, that's what I did. I didn't think to myself like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna become a VTuber. I'm gonna get famous. I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. No, I just went for it. Like, I literally never thought to myself that I need to be this kind of person, that I need to have these goals in mind. And instead, I just went for it. Like, I literally just got my thing started up, asked a friend that I knew about some, tips and advice for getting started as well. Her best advice to me was basically what I already knew. Just go for it. Because that's what she did. And she's doing great. And I feel like, for being me, I'm doing great. I don't like to think about numbers specifically when it comes to streaming and stuff. I don't like to think about my average viewer count, my follower count, none of that. All of that can be a little bit stressful and taxing on the brain to think about too much. And instead, I don't look at those things. Instead of looking what my current viewer count is, instead of looking at how people were going to be receptive of these things, my thought process more is just, I want to do this thing. I'm going to do this thing. And that is just the entire plan and my entire mindset. Just go for it, honestly. Like, I know it's just kind of like a generic thing to say, but there's really not much better advice to say other than just go for it. It's the best thing that you can do. Because if you never try in the first place, well, then you can, you can't say that you tried. You can't say that you gave it a try at all. And if you went for it and you felt like it wasn't for you, then you can say that you gave it a try. You can say that you did something. You can say that you wanted to do this, and then when you started to do it, it wasn't for you. Something along those lines. And yeah, it can be really hard sometimes. It can be rough to put your all into something, and then sometimes it doesn't go the best. Sometimes there will be those downsides. Sometimes there will be downswings on certain days, or maybe people won't be as receptive to a thing that you thought that people would be. And that's okay too. I feel like it's okay to sometimes not be the best at something. And I think a big part of it is to kind of accept and learn from those moments, and then just kind of, maybe use that as a way to improve yourself later on, or focus on something else. Or maybe you still want to be a streamer, but you want to change your ways of doing it. Maybe you don't want to be a VTuber. Maybe you do want to be a VTuber and you tried one or the other in the first place. Then you can try something else along with it. The best thing that you can do is to just give it a chance. That's really it. Like, it's so simple and easy to say, and some people might look at it and look at me saying it and be like, well, Sarah, that's easy for you to say. You have over this many amount of followers on your Twitch, or this many amount of followers in this, or this people in your Discord, and this people that you talk to all the time. And in a way, yeah, it kind of is easy for me to say, but that's only because when I first started, it wasn't easy for me to say until I just went for it. And that's just how you do it. That's just how you learn. That's just how you grow. You just go for it. That's about it. That's honestly the best advice that I can give. Sorry. Okfi once again asking, what editing software do you use or plan on using? So the times where I actually do edit my own videos, I use DaVinci Resolve. I feel like it is the lightest weight and simplest to understand. It can be a little bit overwhelming at first, but there are so many different tutorials online, even using the free version of DaVinci Resolve, that can really help you understand and elevate your editing chops. And I feel like even with me, somebody who's never gone to school for any of this, never done any of this on her own, and just fully went into it not knowing what to do or really how to do things, but just knowing what she wanted to do, I feel like even I've been able to put a little bit of editing into things and making things feel really nice and really, you know, put together and things like that. Not nearly as good as Okfi, by the way. Fee, you are absolutely amazing. I know that I've said this a lot of times this video, and I will always say it. Fee, you are awesome. Thank you. Alice wrote in asking, hi, my question is about creativity and being authentic in a time where I don't feel very safe as a trans person online. I have been much less public with my art since I transitioned for fear of being harassed. But I also know that I am so thankful to people like you who are authentic and out there and create communities that can support and nurture trans and queer creators. So my question is, where do you get the courage from, and is it worth putting oneself out there? I don't really know what to say, only because I didn't really go into this thinking to myself that I wanted to create necessarily a safe space for anybody. Not that I dislike the idea of having a safe space, but I went into it just thinking to myself, I want to do this thing, and I want to create ideas and forms of entertainment that people will enjoy. And so me putting myself out there is just kind of me just doing what I feel is the best thing to do, to just do it. This also gets into something that some of you may have noticed, and some of you may not have noticed, and some of you maybe not enjoy, and some people are okay with, but it doesn't really matter either way. It's just who I am. But yes, I am trans. I don't really talk about it specifically because I don't really care about whether or not people know. It's just something about me, and that's just who I am. But I also don't feel it being pertinent to necessarily identify as a quote-unquote trans creator. I don't ever talk about being trans in my content creation, mostly because that shouldn't be something that you're focusing on. What you should be focusing on is, what the hell am I doing in this video game? I'm probably dying, or maybe I'm succeeding. I don't know, but I'm gonna be joking about it, and you should really laugh along with the jokes. And if you're not, and you're instead focusing on, well, what's in that girl's skirt? Think differently, please. I know it's just easy to say, just, don't focus on it, but really, don't focus on it. It's not something that I focus on, and it shouldn't be something that you focus on. What I do and how I do it is just how I do things. And what my gender is, and what my gender identity is, and all of that should not be something that you should focus on. And I mean this for everybody who also means very well, because there are a lot of people who come to my streams and stuff and say that they only watch me because I'm trans, and that also doesn't feel the best, because you shouldn't be focusing on that. Even if it's something that you think is a good thing, the focus isn't my gender. The focus is me as a creator. And that should be what you're thinking about the most. What my gender is should be secondary, even tertiary, but it shouldn't be the main thing on your mind the entire time. On top of that as well, though, if you do come to my streams and you do come to my communities and you like hanging out with me because you feel a little bit more comfortable and safe, and you see me in whatever way that you see me in, like being like a success or something like that. I've been told that people see me in a like successful light and they want to be like me. And that always feels a little bit, I guess, it kind of like puts like a little bit of like pressure on me, because I just kind of see myself as just some girl online. And honestly, I feel like if I ever don't see myself in that way, that will be a great downfall for me, only because I never want to see myself as higher than what I actually am. And what I actually am is just a girl online. And whether or not I make it big or I quit the next day shouldn't be something that I think about. But what I should be thinking about is what I'm going to do right now. And what I'm going to do right now is continue my journey. And wherever my journey leads me, wherever it ends up is wherever it ends up. So I guess to summarize, basically just be yourself, honestly. And there's absolutely going to be people who don't enjoy you for being who you are. And I think a big part of that as well is realizing that that's life, you know? Sometimes people aren't going to be the best. Sometimes people are going to be mean to you and not like you for who you are. And I think a big thing that a lot of people need to do, trans or otherwise, is realize that those people should not be the focus of what you do. And what you should be focusing on is people who enjoy you for you. And that's, you know, that's what I focus on the most. People who like me for me, not because they love that I am a gender in one way or another, or hate that I'm a gender in one way or another, but people who just watch me because they think I'm funny, or they just enjoy my content, or maybe they think that I'm cute. I know that a lot of you fuckers think that I'm cute. I'm not. I'm not gonna fucking show myself, but so many people keep calling me cute, and I don't know how to feel about that. Mostly because I see myself in the mirror every day, y'all. No, I'm kidding. I think myself is pretty cute. But don't tell my regular viewers who are absolutely going to be watching this. You guys didn't hear that. Nobody clipped that part. We're not even on Twitch right now. You can't. Ha! I win. Going with that is a kind of secondary question, I guess. This comes from Anonymous, asking, sorry if this is too personal, but when did you start to feel that you felt more comfortable as trans? How did you figure it all out? When I first came out as trans, I felt more comfortable than I had ever felt in my entire life. When I realized that my gender identity was something that I had been hiding from not just others, but myself for a while. And I decided to come out and no longer hide that part of myself. I felt so relieved to be able to tell people about my authentic self and to tell people, this is who I am. This is my name. I used the name Sarah for a very long time, even before I told people that I was a woman. And then after I told people, they just kind of looked at me like, okay. And then we just moved on. Like, that was honestly it. Being able to look my brothers and my mom in the face and tell them that I was a woman my entire life, and I had been hiding that part of me from everyone, and their reaction was to just accept me for who I am. None of them questioned me or said anything negative about it. They just immediately accepted it and started, calling me by Sarah. That was it, honestly. I always feel a little bit bad bringing that up, mostly because I know that a lot of people don't have that experience that they can relate to. But honestly, that was just it for me. But I was going into that experience expecting full well that there may be a chance that they wouldn't accept me for myself. And I went into it knowing no matter what, I was going to be myself, and I wouldn't let other people stop me from being who I was. And so, yeah, if they had not accepted me that day, that wouldn't have stopped me. I would have still been as I am. And if they weren't happy for me for being myself, then that's their loss. But luckily for them and for me, there was no loss. I love my family a lot. I still talk to them, and they still reach out to me, check to make sure I'm doing good. My older brother especially is somebody who has always looked at me as, as his little sibling. And he is very caring and very protective of his younger sister. And he always has been, and knowing him, he always will be. And I love him a lot. I love my younger brother too, and I love my mom. My family's just great. To break from all of that, 13 asks, I know you've been having an amazing time playing ZZZ and unraveling the story of new Eridu, but how does one do a air? Very, very carefully. You guys don't even know. I had this whole plan that I was going to be taking off my glasses every single time that I would answer a question, but then I realized like 2 questions in that I completely forgot to do that. And I did not want to re-record those parts. So, I just kept my glasses on the whole time. I'm probably going to take my glasses off for the rest of this recording. The hat might stay on. I don't know. I might take it off at one random question at some point in the future. In fact, you know what? I'm going to plan to do that. At some point in time, I'm going to take my hat off and I'm not going to say anything about it. And you're just going to have to all figure it out. And then I'll put it back on and again, won't say anything about it. And if you catch it, you win a prize. The prize is, good job. I'm proud of you. Are you happy? I hope so. I really do. Dakama asks, how did you and Miss Fortune meet? So, Supervillain Miss Fortune and I, she's another streamer and she's my roommate. We met through a mutual friend together, through playing Final Fantasy XIV. This mutual friend reached out to me after we had been getting to know one another here and there, and she mentioned that she had another friend that she wanted to introduce me to. and that was, of course, Misfortune. When I first met Misfortune, we got along pretty well, pretty much immediately. We started showing each other random memes, being ourselves, things like that. You know, making puns out of every single sentence. You know, the usual thing like that. Eventually, I brought up that I am a VTuber. This was after I started being a VTuber, and she knew a lot more about VTubing than I did, which was kind of funny because at the time, she was not a VTuber. She never had plans to be a VTuber. And I was the first, I'm pretty sure the first VTuber that she ever actually met. And then shortly after talking to her about stuff and, you know, talking about the whole idea of streaming, she eventually wanted to start streaming herself. So that's when she started to also become a VTuber. Mostly because I was the first person that she knew as a VTuber. And I helped her kind of start in that way. And it's been really nice to know that I was able to do that for at least one person. Although I know that it's been happening for a lot of people because I've been told that a lot from a lot of people that I've met, that I'm the reason that they got into being a streamer or a VTuber, or I'm the reason for this part of their life that's changed. And it's honestly been kind of humbling to be able to be somebody like that for people. It kind of throws me off that I'm able to be that kind of person for people. Mostly because I'm just a random girl who is obsessed with a 23-year-old MMORPG. And that's really just how I saw myself for the longest time. But I'm glad that people see me for more than that. So, speaking of, Misfortune asks, admit it, you're a bottom, right? I know where you live. You're literally in the next room. I could yell at you right now for asking this question. Hazel asks, how do I do shoutouts on my own stream? This is honestly a really convenient question because now I get to talk about more streaming shit and the way that I have things set up. So the way that I have my setup is if I type in exclamation SO, it will shout out somebody and also give them a clip at the same time. And I set that up through a video that I'll probably put in the description. It can help you set it up through things like Streamlabs, which I don't use, but I do use Stream Elements, which has been really nice, but that's not my main way of having like bot things set up. I use Stream Elements for things that my other bots cannot do. And by bots, I mean really just one bot, which I'll get to in a second as well. But outside of that, if I type in exclamation shoutout, the full word spelled out, or full words, it's all one word basically, but if I do exclamation shoutout, it gives somebody a shout out that will appear on the left side of the screen. And it will play a little clip, but there will be no audio and it'll go away after like 5 seconds just to, you know, kind of show them off real quick. I use that one through Pixel Chat. And these are all things where if you ever need like links for something, I can always absolutely provide them. Feel free to message me on Discord, by the way. This is for anybody who wants to reach out to ask me anything, tech related or otherwise. You can always message me on Discord. Once again, if like before, you could put my Discord right there at the bottom of the screen. And also, random little shout out, once again, if you could put my entire Discord link to my entire Discord community down at the bottom there. Shocking to nobody, they're both Sarah Aces. We're at tier 3 in the Discord right now, and the link is just Sarah Aces for everything. Basically anything I do is gonna have the name Sarah Aces everywhere. I really hope I don't change my name in the future. Yes, I do have ADHD. How could you tell? Anyway, to get back onto the topic, I use those as ways to shout people out. Also, if you don't have any of those bots set up, you can always just type in /shoutout. And after all of these, you would put the name of the person that you want to shout out. the slash command is a built-in onto Twitch in and of itself to give people shoutouts. If you're more asking the question of how I do it automatically when I get rated in from somebody, or if it's a specific person that I know, it will automatically shout them out in my chat like the second that they say anything. That's not something that I can actually fully answer. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but I promise it's not. I literally don't know how my bot works. I asked my friend Ada to make me a bot, and she did. From the ground up, she made a bot on Twitch just for me, and only my channel has that bot. If you know, you know, and if you don't, well, this might be your introduction to my bot Olette, and if this is your introduction to Olette, well, I love Olette. They are my little mascot that you may see around, and they are just a delight to have as a bot, to be able to have a bot that is made personally for me that I can rely on to do the things that I want to do. Olette themselves can do various things like shout people out the second that they come in. If there are any terms that I don't want put in my chat in general, Olette will immediately just delete that entire message, and may, depending on the term, even ban that person. And that's only the things that I can talk about openly about Olette, because there are other things where I don't even know if I should say, mostly because I don't know fully what Olette can do. And I don't want to speak for my friend Ada, who, again, biggest fucking sweetheart in making Olette for me. Thank you again, Ada. I love you a lot. You are amazing. Raze asks, as someone trying to learn more about content creation, I'm interested in streamers' perspective on a few things. What are your thoughts on collaborating and interacting with other content creators? I personally think that it is very important to network and to reach out to other content creators, not just in the idea of this will help me grow, but more so in the idea of this will be fun, if that makes sense. I don't think it's fair to think of anybody in terms of your own growth. I think it's fair to think of people as other people as well that you will want to get to know and become friends with, even, maybe. At the same time, I think it's really important to try to network and get to know more people. You might even learn new things about streaming that you never thought of. You might even learn new ideas that you want to bring to your own streams. And that's a really good way to grow. I feel like that one might be a little bit more of a controversial thing to say, because I feel like a lot of times if somebody sees something else that another person is doing, and then that person starts doing that thing as well, then the person who had that idea on their own streams might be a little bit upset of like, how dare this person steal my idea from me? And it's way more complicated than that. It seriously is. Speaking from personal experience, I have met people who have directly, whether or not they tell me or not, but they have directly seen me do something on my own streams, and then they themselves wanted to bring that to their own streams. And anytime that I see that, and especially to the people who say like, hey Sarah, I got this idea from you and I started doing it myself, the only thing I can think is, that's amazing. That is so awesome that you found this thing too. I personally don't like the idea of gatekeeping ideas like that. Through the medium of content creation, I feel it is very helpful for other content creators to be a lot more receptive and a lot more open about sharing their ideas, so that other people can get those ideas as well and maybe even use those in their own thing. I don't necessarily think that it's fair to expect everybody to say, well, I got this from this person. This idea came from this person. You don't have to. Sometimes people will have the exact same idea. That's actually something that I wanted to talk about randomly too. This wasn't something that was asked, but I feel like a lot of people get in their own mind of, I had this idea on my own, therefore anybody who also has this idea has to be stealing from me. And I feel like that's kind of not a good way to look at things. This might come as a shock to some people, but not all of the ideas in the world that you come up with are things that only you have ever thought. It is entirely possible that somebody else, of their own volition, had the exact same thoughts, had the exact same trail and thought process, even without ever meeting you. It is entirely possible, because sometimes ideas aren't just the most creative or the most original. Sometimes it's just a generalized idea. So the idea that somebody else also had that kind of idea, and it was only theirs ever, and anybody else who does it is stealing from them, is, to me, ridiculous. But for the people who I know for a fact got an idea from me, and I'm gonna be real, I've absolutely done this too, where I saw somebody else doing a thing and I thought that would be amazing. To the people who I have personally influenced, that touches my heart a lot, and I'm really happy that I have influenced people. And again, like I said, humbling. So thank you for thinking that something that I did was a good idea. And I'm gonna be real as well. Sometimes I've gotten those ideas from other people. And for the times that I have, I will usually try to reach out if I see a specific idea that I really like the idea of. And I will reach out to the person who I first saw it from and ask them, how did you do this? Because it was really good and I really liked it and I thought it was an amazing idea. How did you do that in the first place? And thankfully, a lot of the time, those people will just tell me. They'll just straight up just show me the exact thing that they got the idea from in the first place. Oftentimes, they will show me the resource that they use to set it up on their streams. They will show me like the links and like the websites and so many different things for me to do on my own so that I could have it on my own thing. And then not just directly use one-to-one their exact thing, but kind of use that as a branching point to make it my own. And I feel like everybody should do that, honestly. I feel like it is better to get with the other people and to do those things than to keep things to yourself, you know? That also just means that people in general will find you a lot more pleasant to talk to if you are somebody who is a lot more receptive to people talking to you, which is a shocker to some people. But yeah, no, just being a nice person in general means that people will look at you nicely. So be a good person. That's a big part of it as well. Just be a good person, which is, I don't know why I have to say that in some parts, but yeah, being a good person is good. It's just good for you. It's good for other people. It's good for everybody. And it means that people will enjoy talking to you. And I like when people talk to me. And I don't do that, like, I'm not just a good person so that people will talk to me. No, I just want to be a good person. I just want to be good. That's probably the best way to put it. Grogy asks, what is your earliest memory? I probably sat here for 5 minutes trying to think of my earliest memory. And I think I got it. I don't even know how old I was, but I remember it was in the first house that I ever lived in. And we were in the honestly not great condition basement. There was probably mold and pretty sure even roaches around. We lived in a very poor neighborhood growing up. But I remember sitting down on the carpet with my older brother next to me. This was even before my younger brother had even been born. But I remember sitting there with my older brother, and we were playing a game on the Sega Genesis. It was the Sega Genesis version of the game Cliffhanger, based off of the movie Cliffhanger, which I've never seen ever, and I didn't even know that it was a movie until, honestly, way more recently. I'm talking within the past 5 years, I learned that that was actually a movie. I had never heard of it, I had never seen it, still haven't seen it, probably never will, but I remember playing that game with my older brother. And when I say playing, I want to be clear that my older brother did the thing where he was the one that was actually playing the game, and he gave me a controller that was quote-unquote player 2 that was not plugged in. Again, this was before I was 5 years old. I don't remember anything about the game outside of, I think that there was a snowboarding part, maybe. I'm gonna have to look it up later on, honestly. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna pause real quick. I'm gonna do that right now. Yeah, I remember this. I remember this part because I never understood any of what was happening, because the game didn't. It was a Sega Genesis game based off of a movie, and I had no concept of a good or bad game. I'm watching it right now. This is bringing back so many memories. I remember this entire section. I don't think I ever beat it, because I went back later on and played it for myself, and I don't think my brother and I ever beat this game or got close to beating it at all. I just remember dying constantly here. Another question from Anonymous is, would you buy the Deadpool ass controller? Hey Fee, can you put up the Deadpool ass controller on screen for me, please? Yeah, you know, I'm looking at it right now. Maybe. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I don't have a problem with it, but it's expensive and I don't want to spend that money on it. John Final Fantasy, by the way, what a fucking honor. Holy shit. John Final Fantasy asks, what's the best part of Final Fantasy XI? The music, easily. That, like, no question asked. The music of Final Fantasy XI is something that even at times where I'm not able to play the game, be it I have to unsubscribe for a little bit, I don't have internet connection, or I'm out, the music from Final Fantasy XI will be something that I will always listen to and will always bring me just huge feels. And I honestly am thankful of how beautiful it is and how amazing it is and how fitting it is for every single area that you go into the game. The music that accompanies it just feels right. It feels like you can tell what kind of an area a song from Final Fantasy XI would play in just from the music in and of itself. Just from the music, you can really get the idea of the area that it's from. It's just something about it where it feels like songs that you would actually just hear if you were there in the game. It feels like that is actually music that you would hear in that area. It's just so fitting. Armia asks, how'd you get so adorable? Armia, You adorable little bean, you. I just am myself. I can say at the very least that I do have a kind of beauty regimen that I do. I make sure to shave my entire body. And when I do that, I actually take a sugar scrub and an exfoliating mat. And I kind of scrub all of my skin. And it really helps my complexion and really helps to make my skin feel super, super silky soft and smooth. And it's honestly been something that I have been doing for years now. And it just feels great. And I feel like, honestly, a lot of the way that people perceive me is reflected in how I perceive myself. And a lot of that is taking care of oneself. Because if you take care of yourself and you're feeling confident in yourself, then other people will notice that confidence and kind of, you know, pick up on it. And if you say something about yourself, then other people are likely to also feel that same way about you. And then for the people who don't, well, that's too bad. Shizuka asks, hand tracking when? You really think that I am not tracking my hands right now? Do you think that I'm not holding my hands up in this way right now? Do you think that when I'm like this and I'm going, that I'm actually doing that with my hands? Please. No, actually, honestly, I have no idea. Maybe. I don't think that it would be the best idea for me to have hand tracking, because I swear this is true. I do not notice how often it happens until other people point it out to me. But I am constantly just grabbing my own chest at times. It's comforting. And I know that other girls are like this too. My friend Nia talks about how sometimes she'll just grab a handful of her own boobs and just do it like that. And she's been doing that for a while. And honestly, yeah, I get it. It's comforting. It really is. So I feel like if I had hand tracking, people would constantly just be looking at me like, Sarah, why are you feeling yourself up? And I'm like, I'm not. I swear I'm not. I'm just getting comfortable. This is also the same reason why I can't do IRL streaming and like, you know, actual like face cam and stuff. Because there are times where I'm not even noticing it until much later on, where I'll just be doing a normal thing. I'll be playing a game. And then out of nowhere, I look down and I'm like, oh, my boobs have been out for the past 5 minutes. And I've been just having those out because it feels comfortable. Because bras, oh my god, bras hurt. Holy shit, bras hurt. Zora the Hex asked, have you played The Sims? And if you have, what's the worst way you've killed a sim? So I'm actually playing The Sims 4 on stream every now and again. I know it's been a little bit, but I do play The Sims. I love The Sims. I've been playing The Sims since The Sims 1. I've been a fan of The Sims since before The Sims was The Sims. I'm a huge fan of The Sims. I think the worst way would be, I know people are going to say the pool. The pool is a classic, and yes, I've killed Sims in the pool. Obviously, who hasn't? I think the worst thing that I did, and I don't know what compelled me to do it, was I went to the goth household and I made Bella Goth kind of starve her husband. And I don't know, again, what compelled me to do any of this, but then I basically made Bella Goth into somebody who would find random people that would walk across the neighborhood and bring them into the household and marry them immediately. And then I would put that man into a little house that I built in the front lawn, and it would be a 2x2 little shed that I would then delete the door of as soon as they were inside. And the only form of activity I would give them is a little firework thing. And every time they would use it, they would blow themselves up and die in a fire. and I don't know what compelled me to do any of this, but I would constantly do that to all of the men in the neighborhood, and then just have an entire backyard full of graves of all the men that she had killed. I was a f***ed up kid, wasn't I? Huh, Jesus Christ. Well, I know for a fact that I wasn't the only one, because I'm pretty sure that it's a shared universal thing. Not that part specifically, but just killing people in The Sims. I'm pretty damn sure that everyone did that in The Sims at some point. I don't really do that much anymore, but like when I played The Sims 1, I feel like the fact that The Sims 1 was extremely limited in how it was, that I feel like that's just a shared universal thing, right? Because there wasn't really a lot to do in The Sims 1. Ever since The Sims 2, though, I stopped doing that. And I honestly think it's because The Sims 2 just had a progression. With The Sims 1, your Sims wouldn't age. They wouldn't, like, die outside of your own hand. And I feel like if you played the games for long enough, I feel like everyone would just get bored and then just want to off their Sims for something different to happen. But with The Sims 2 and onward, with the way that stories would progress, I feel like it's just very different, because there would be that progression, there would be death, there would be natural stories that would develop throughout just playing the game, that you wouldn't have to put your Sims in the pool or in the shed with fireworks or things like that. I actually had a lot of fun kind of recently watching the YouTuber Call Me Kevin. I'll put a little link there. Shout out to my boy Call Me Kevin. I really like his videos a lot, and yeah, he's fun to watch playing The Sims. He had an entire series playing The Sims 2 that I thought was one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. It's just something about The Sims. I don't know. Just something about The Sims always makes me laugh. Just the way that it is. Nerdy asks, how do you type and play with boxing gloves? Plus, if you get the reference, you're awesome. Hey, while I'm talking over this, Ogfi, could you just put in like a little like audio part of Strong Bad just talking over this part?
And then there's always some kind of high-pitched noise, you know, or like a siren. It's like...
And hopefully that'll be enough for you to understand that, yes, I got the reference. Thank you. Anoni asks, favorite or go-to Taco Bell order? Easily anything to do with a chicken quesadilla with extra jalapeno sauce. If you've never been to Taco Bell, get that as the first thing that you ever have from Taco Bell. That was the first thing that I ever had from Taco Bell, and it became my absolute favorite thing from Taco Bell. And it is still something that I get every single time that I go. And I'm not joking when I say every time that I go to Taco Bell, I get a chicken quesadilla. Even if I'm getting something else, I will have a chicken quesadilla along with it, either as something that I eat immediately or something that I save for later on. But if I'm not eating a chicken quesadilla from Taco Bell, there's something wrong. That's an imposter, and yeah, don't trust that person, because that's not me. Jag asks, yeah, Jesus. Jag asks, this was gonna be a tongue twister. Holy sh**. Jag asks, did I do it that time? Hey Jag, what's up? You write in asking, what has been your most memorable stream or moment on stream? I've been at this for almost 3 years now, so thinking back 3 years is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I would probably say my most memorable stream would be the time that I played the entirety of the Stanley Parable on one gigantic long stream. That stream in and of itself, as a whole, was just filled with so many emotions. It was a roller coaster of emotions, and to experience it all in one single sitting, in one single day, playing the entire game, getting all of the endings, all of the everything in one go, was something that I will never forget. And I'm pretty sure I saved that entire VOD, and I'm pretty sure it's here on YouTube, because it was just that memorable to me. It was that impactful on me that I wanted it to be something that I never forgot. And I'll never forget it even without the VOD, but it would be something that I never want other people to not have as well. And yeah, it was just a time. You had to be there, and if you weren't there, then the VOD's there. And yeah, it was beautiful. Outside of that, probably the first year of my streaming journey was probably my favorite time being a streamer. Not that I dislike streaming right now, obviously. I love streaming, and every single day that I get to stream is a fucking delight. But every day after that has been beautiful. But I feel like my favorite streams ever were within the first year of streaming. My friend Ada asked if I would stream the Mega Man games, specifically Mega Man X and then Mega Man 0. And me knowing nothing about any Mega Man games, never playing a single Mega Man game in my entire life outside of Mega Man 2, and I mean the original Mega Man 2, I said sure, and I had no idea what to expect going into it. But oh man, was it a time. Probably every single Mega Man X game that I played was an improvement on the last for the first 4 games. And then after that, it kind of declined. But then after Mega Man X6, I got to play the Mega Man 0 games, and once again, every single game was an improvement on the last, and the Mega Man 0 games are amazing. But the most memorable part of that was that was my life for months. Every Monday, it would be Mega Man Monday, and I would wake up, eat a breakfast, shower, and then get ready for stream. And I would boot up a new Mega Man X game, and I would beat the entire game in one 12-hour stream setting. I would beat the entire game in one go, in one shot. And then I would just be done with it. And then the next week, I would boot up the next Mega Man X game in the series, and I would just go at it again. And I would do that for months, for every single Mega Man X game, and then every single Mega Man 0 game. And that was probably the most memorable part of my streams. That was the moment where I stopped taking streaming as a hobby that I would do on my off time when I wasn't working at a warehouse, and I started seeing it as something that I wanted to do for as long as I wanted to keep going. And that's kind of how I got to where I am now. I just streamed every single Monday, and I would stream other days as well, obviously, but Mondays were always Mega Man days, and every single Monday was amazing, and I will never forget those days. So the people who met me during those times, when I was streaming on Mondays for Mega Man Monday, thank you for encouraging me to be a streamer and encouraging me to continue this. And to Ada especially, thank you for being my best friend. Thank you for being the closest person in my entire life and the reason why I'm still here streaming. Thank you. You're really amazing. You're gonna make me tear up a little bit. But for those who don't know, my friend Ada is probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm still here. Not that I dislike any of my people who watch my streams or any of my friends or anything like that, but Ada, more than anybody else, was the loudest of voices encouraging me to be who I am. Ada, among everybody else, was there at my lowest points in my life and has always been there for me. And that goes for streaming and not streaming. So having her there was beautiful. And I'll never forget the amazing times of playing those games that she just didn't even want me to play as a streamer. She just wanted to watch her best friend play a game that she loved. And yeah, that's just how I view streaming in general. I don't view it as a career necessarily, although I do streaming as my full-time job and content creation as my full-time job. But I don't look at it from that perspective. I think of just being myself as a girl who loves doing these things, and I want to show people the things that I love. And I feel like that's what Ada wants the most as well. And I know for a fact that she does, because she told me that she just wants people to see me for me. She thinks that I'm amazing, and she wants people to see the amazing person that she knows as her best friend. So, yeah. That's probably about it. Lurie asks, aside from Final Fantasy XI, what's your favorite game? Final Fantasy X. It's just gonna make people think that I'm a really big Final Fantasy fan, and I have to, as always, stress I am not. I don't hate the Final Fantasy series, but I never think of myself as a Final Fantasy fan. That being said, Final Fantasy X was my introduction to the series as a whole, and I think that it's still, to this day, my favorite single-player game of all time. I love the story, I love the music, I love the characters, and I know that people are going to bring up a certain scene that they're going to bring up in a certain way because they haven't actually played the game, and they think that it's really funny to laugh at somebody in that moment who's trying to just make somebody that he cares for a lot laugh and break the mood. It's almost like if you actually play the game, you know what they're doing. Play Final Fantasy X. No, but outside of that, it's just, I don't know. It's just a beautiful game. I love it a lot, and I love the music and everything about it. And I'll keep going back to playing it. I'm a really big fan of the Diablo series as a whole, especially Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. Not so much Diablo 1, but it's okay. But Diablo 2 was definitely an introduction to the series, and definitely something that changed me as a person in general. That was my real first introduction to like online gaming as a whole, especially online RPGs and like grinding and things like that. People will look at things like Destiny as like a looter shooter, and honestly, you have Diablo to thank for Destiny's existence. The entire concept of like the looter shooter genre as a whole has its roots in Diablo. So for people who like Destiny or Borderlands and love that constant grind for loot, you should really try Diablo. It's a really good game. I know people are gonna be a little bit iffy on Diablo 4. I like it, I still play it, and I play every season. It's been fun. Cadet asks, any plans for your birthday? Probably streaming, honestly. I stream every single year on my birthday, so I'll probably do a stream on my birthday as well. I think that a celebration of that day would be really good for the people that I care about the most, and that really is all of you, to celebrate with me. And I want to bring that there on stream, or just hanging out with my community in general. And yeah, I celebrate every single year on my birthday by streaming, just hanging out with y'all. And that's really what I do. Outside of that, Fortune and I will probably get some good Namis. I'm a little bit of a bougie bitch, and I really like going out to getting hibachi. So maybe we'll get hibachi. I don't know. We'll have to see. Dreamer asks, what was your favorite cartoon when you were a child? This is like asking a parent to name their favorite child. Like, this is really difficult. Probably SpongeBob. So much of my comedy and my way of being comes from watching just so much SpongeBob and quoting SpongeBob to my friends, who in turn would quote SpongeBob back to me. And that would just be the way that we go. And yeah, I'm pretty sure SpongeBob would have to be up there. Invader Zim is another one that's definitely gonna be in the tops, without a fucking doubt. Invader Zim, and not just because of the whole goth thing, but also because of the whole goth thing. Ed, and Eddie as well was one that I look back on very fondly, even though I'm pretty sure it might not hold up. I don't know. I honestly have not watched it in years, but I remember thinking that it was hilarious when I was a kid. Weirdly enough, Hey Arnold was up there, and Rugrats, which are kind of weird picks looking back, but I remember really liking them as a kid, and kind of like taking like a lot of life lessons from those shows and using them and applying them in the future. I think that's everything. And I don't just mean on that question. I think that's all of the questions that we have for all of the AMA stuff. Which means that we can wrap this thing up and we can kind of go and, well, I can continue to do my thing. Thank you everybody for writing in as you did. The AMA is officially over. I know I've been holding off on this one for a while, so I'm really glad to have been able to do all of it. Thank you so much to all of you for writing in. Thank you so much, Fee, for doing all of this editing. You seriously are just a delight to know, and thank you so much for all of your hard work and your continued hard work. I could not have done nearly any of this without you, honestly. Not just on this video, but the editing and all of that in general. For those who don't know, Fee is the one who actually edits all of my shorts now. So all the text that you see popping up on all my shorts, all of the, you know, little music cues and all the little like extra jokes made in post, all of that is done through Fee. Here and there, I'll throw in an idea that might be funny, but Fee mostly just kind of goes for it, and she does whatever she wants for it, and it's been great. So again, with all of that done, with all that said, thank you so much everybody for coming on in. Thank you so much for watching all this video. If you actually did watch the whole video, holy shit, thank you so much. I know that this was a lot. Fee, how long was this video? How long was the recording for? Put the time at the, well, you can just see the time for yourselves, right? I don't know, but I don't know how long I've been recording this for. Probably like 2 hours. But that's everything. And I will see you all whenever I see you all. Again, you can find me on the Discord. You can find me in my actual streaming Discord. The link is again going to be down at the bottom and also on screen right now. Thank you again. And for the next time that I stream, well, just make sure to follow me on Twitch. It's again, Sarah Aces. I'm Sarah Aces literally everywhere. Except for Twitter, because somebody has the name Sarah Aces on Twitter. So on Twitter, I had to be Sarah_aces, which is annoying, but that's what we do. So I will see you all next time. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye. Make sure that you have a good rest. Make sure you eat. Make sure you drink water, please. And just be good people. That's it. I love you. That was on your cheek. No, not the other. If you made it all the way to the end of this entire thing, thank you so much for sticking through it all. I don't really have a huge amount to say. I'm sure that Bea already has some end credits going on, and she asked me to record a little thing for you guys to just say, hey, thank you so much. I don't know what to say. I've never done anything like this. In general, when it comes to the whole video anything and all of what you're hearing right now, and yeah, I don't know what's going on. This is my first ever actual YouTube video, so thank you so much for sticking on by for all of it. I'm sorry that 2025 has been very hectic for me, and I haven't really been around nearly as much as I want to. I'll try to stick on by and increase my streaming in 2026. Let's see how it goes. I don't know. Life's a little bit weird right now. I just finished eating, so like I'm a little bit like, you know, I got hiccups, so I could edit this part out, but I'm not gonna. Keep all this in, seriously. But again, thank you so much for yeah. If it doesn't already pop up on the screen, then I'm saying it right now with my voice. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. I don't know. Whatever. All right, bye.